Okay, welcome. Um, Basically, what I'm gonna do, in this segment is talk a little bit about this event. It seems a little bit more, at least from what I've read online, like a little bit more controversial than I thought it was gonna be, I guess. Not in the ways that I expected. Um, and so I just want to kind of like review the event a little bit, and this will be off the dome. It's not scripted. It's gonna be. I mean, I was gonna actually live stream this, but then I just decided, or well, what actually happened is my YouTube channel apparently cannot live stream. My Twitch channel can't because it's been up for a while, but I didn't really feel like streaming on Twitch today. I'm probably gonna try and make a YouTube pivot a little bit, just because I mean, I don't know. I just streaming on Twitch just feels a little vapid for at least my current step. At least with YouTube, there might be a chance somebody might see the VOD. Something like this. I don't want to complain too much, and we'll just get into the content. I'll probably just cut most of this actually. But in any case, the main reason why I wanted to talk about this event is because I think it's, in terms of the storytelling approach that they really went for here, is I mean, it's not unique in any sense. VNs have done this before ages ago, but it is a pivot from kind of like Nikke's traditional storytelling method. And in fact, a lot of gacha storytelling, um, it differentiates itself by kind of embracing the VN style. But in terms of the canonical, for a live service game, it brings into question what the future of this kind of storytelling method can bring, and if it's something that they're gonna bring back. And well, we'll get into that in a little bit. And then I also kind of want to review and just tier list, kind of rank some of the routes, just for fun. So that's basically the main gist of what we'll be talking about here. All right. So I mean, the event's almost ending. I have 100%ed everything. It didn't take that long, but I mean, if you really do want to get everything, it does, I guess, take a while, relative to the amount that you'd have to spend for other events. But I mean, if you compare it to some of the mini game grinds that other events have had, I don't think it's that bad. And personally, I kind of liked most of the stories, or at least, how do I put it? um, the stories took certain interesting turns. So we'll go ahead, and I think to start, maybe we'll do the ranking, and then at the end I'll wrap up with my kind of longer term thoughts. Generally speaking, I did like this event. I thought it was very interesting because it's clearly an experimental thing that they're doing, and I do kind of hope that they do more of it. But I do have some caveats that I will throw in at the end. Okay. So, I mean, just to summarize, I mean, if you're watching this, you probably know what this event is. It's 2x2. The 2x2 stands for the two routes and the the two roles you can play as the commander, and the two, I guess we'll call them love interests, that are in the story. That being A, Arcana, and P, Privity. And then you do this nice little times table thing. I thought it was cute. It's a nice tasteful kind of like mathematics, thing that they can kind of like tie to like school, even though these people are in arguably, I guess, like the equivalent of a high school. So probably, hopefully, people know like how to make a 2x2 table. But at this point, the CGs are amazing in this event. Like pretty much all of them, I almost have basically no complaints. Now that being said, like I'm not exactly, I don't have like an eye for art specifically, but I just thought overall, I just really liked like almost all of the art. Okay. Now story wise, there are things that I liked and things that I didn't like, but I appreciate that they went through all the ways, even the ones that I didn't like, because I think like it does sort of reinforce your choices more so than other like kind of decision making things that might typically be involved in like gotcha storytelling. You know what I mean? So, how do I break this down? I was basically, at least though, when I had the stream in mind, I was basically gonna go through either by CG or by like ending, both in the first half and the second half. I think I will do more on the ending stuff, and then maybe we'll just review some of the CGs later. So I'll just do like these, and then I'll go down, and then I'll do these, and then I guess I'll comment on the epilogue a little bit, but it's not like it really matters. Yeah, that sounds good. Okay, and then we can do a little tier list, I guess. Let me bring up the notepad real quick. Here. Or you know what? Maybe a sticky note will look better. Unless I need like God damn it. Okay. Well, while that's updating, I guess we can go ahead and start and talk about it. So the first thing that you have to choose, right, is in the prologue or the first section, your role in the story. And I think, at least for me, here, I've just got the sticky note ready. I'll make a window for it. I can't capture it, really? Okay, I guess it's gonna force me to use Notepad then. Annoying. Also, the music in this event it's not his best work, but it's pretty good. I'm gonna review that later as well. Get this up. Okay. Okay. How do we make this bigger? Title. No. I did this before. I'll just Control Plus. Okay, looks good. Okay, so to start, we, have you pick if you're a student or a teacher. I will say, generally speaking, I think the teacher roots spoke more to me as an old person than the student ones. But the student ones were like not too bad. So I think let's go through mostly. We'll do student and then Arcana Privity and then teacher Arcana Privity. So student with Arcana, I think was okay. Probably, I think on the student side, the Arcana one is slightly better than the Privity one in terms of like the developments overall. I mean, these the CG in 6 is pretty amazing. Although this one is actually pretty good too, especially the second variant of it. Should I discuss the bad endings? I mean, there's only really one bad ending that I actually want to discuss, which would be bad 6, I think. Is because there actually isn't like a bad ending that happens later there. So okay, so normal 1, I believe what happens here is the main gist is that you are a little too, as I guess the theme goes, a little too codependent on Arcana, and you kind of shove other people out of the way. That including Amy. Amy as a character, I thought was okay. You know, I think she presents like an interesting viewpoint that maybe like needs to be expressed if you want to consider the sort of world building of Nikke as a whole. And in my opinion, the how do I put it? Like, I do really feel like, at least in the routes where, you know, you go to the photography club instead and you get the true ending, that she is like a little bit third wheeling. I'm not gonna lie. But the photography club, I think, just is like, I don't know, it just feels better overall, which is probably why it's the true ending. They kind of made it feel better intentionally, but I don't mind the normal ending here too much, where it's just like, you know, you and Arcana. Maybe I should replay it a little bit just to check what happens. She locked the door. And then they hug it out, you know? And then they're just basically like, don't let me go! Something like that, I think, right? Yeah. It's like, I want to prioritize you, you know? Yeah, something like this, right? Okay, fair enough. Yeah. I don't particularly like or dislike this ending, basically. So, I mean, it is the first rating, so we're just gonna put it here, and then we'll move stuff up and down as we need. Okay. The true ending, I do like the way that the scene is executed, especially at the bench. But I mean, I think in terms of student endings, this is probably actually the best one. And I think, you know, it does really sort of show Arcana in the best light, in my opinion. This is like Arcana's best route, in my opinion. If you haven't already noticed, I'm probably gonna favor the preview routes a little bit more. And I don't have, it's not that I have anything against Arcana, it's just that I don't, a lot of the student, like, dynamics, I don't quite like that much. But this CG is, like, really good, you know? The ask out, you know, thing. It's like, come on, dude. Like, Commander's like a fucking 30-year-old guy. Your cosplay as a high school student. Arcana is like a, you know, at least more mature woman cosplaying as a high school girl. And like, if you want to suspend belief, right? And just let's just pretend that these two are not actually older than they seem, and they are in high school, and they just happen to like maybe know each other somewhat a little bit earlier before coming into school. Then I think I jive with this scene. But as it stands, it just is just like it's just role play. And like, Arcana's like a little bit into that, right? And that's fine, you know. Turn you down. No. But her voice acting is quite good, I think. At least in JP. I didn't play the English one. So yeah, I do like this, and I do favor it as like the best student ending almost. Amy interrupting is hilarious. Kisu, kisu. This CG is good too. Yeah. I mean, obviously it's better than the normal ending. I just on CGs alone, you know what I mean? But I think, yeah, it does feel like you are kind of like making Arcana like more whole by not being just like you two, like, and nobody else, it's not like a you two against the world thing. That's kind of not, I guess the moral, the lessons that they're trying to impart is that like, hey, maybe don't like get lost in each other kind of thing, right? Whereas I think we can switch to the privity ones now. These are, I think, a little bit more related to, I guess, I mean, everything is much more focused on Amy in the student roots now that I think about it. And then I believe in the normal, like, you don't, the main, I think, crux choice is that you don't follow Amy, right? And you're just like, Privity, go get her. And she's like, nah, that's not my job. That's your job. So then you guys go together, and then you're like, hey, Amy, it's gonna be all right. And then you stay, and then you're like, we're gonna make the festival the best thing ever. Yeah. Fair enough. I feel very meh about this ending. It's, I guess, not exactly what I would call like romantic. And I would probably rate it even under the Arcana normal. Yeah. Oh, we have to do this as well. Okay, so I think this probably looks okay right now. Yeah, I just felt like pretty whatever. There wasn't even like a CG on this. I guess the normal one doesn't have one either. But I don't know. This is like the most bland like half ending that like could possibly exist. I feel nothing about it. I just like, oh, okay, like I guess, Privity doesn't actually want to deal with Amy, and that's like supposed to be your job. But I feel like they don't really sell you on the exact I feel like they don't let you know that that's like supposed to be, the quote unquote true ending pursual. Because earlier on in the story, like when Privity is talking about like, you get into trouble, what are you supposed to do? And then there's like three choices, I think, or at least the two that I'll just talk about is that one of them, you say like, oh, you defer to your teacher, and she's like, good, that's what you're supposed to do. And the other one's like, I go in there and solve it myself. And she's like, no, you're supposed to talk to teachers, but that's like so you, Commander, you know, something like this, right? And I guess me reading between those two options, I got the sense like actually the correct choice is to let Privity handle it, I guess. But it, because I guess maybe you're not like playing as much to, you know, the commander's personality by letting Brevity do it. So I understand to some extent why there's this differential here, but it shouldn't make that much of a difference, I feel like. You know what I mean? Between like what happens in normal and what happens in true, right? Because true, you go up there by yourself, you run out to go find your Amy, and you go to the roof and you talk about like, and Amy's like, you know, I should not be. Oh, actually, you do it here. I thought you did it on the roof. But Amy, like, you know, she expresses her worries to you, I guess, in the absence of Privity, and that makes her feel better. And then somehow this, like, you know, enables Privity to be like, yeah, I love you. So then you go to the roof, and then you hang out with Privity there. And then, you know, there's still like the idea of like, we're gonna make the festival the best thing ever. But then you're like, oh, I can kiss you now. Right? Or hug you. I don't think they kiss here. And then they're like, oh, we can have like private lessons or whatever. It's gonna be great. Crazy. The CG is okay too, but I don't I think generally speaking, I disliked like the interactions or like the romantic interactions between like student and teacher and student. So it's just me, you know, a little bit just not being able to suspend my disbelief a little bit. But I mean, I don't even think the CGs were that good in my opinion, but it's still better than the Arcana normal, I would say. Actually, is it? I know I was kind of talking down the Arcana routes here, but I mean the student Arcana routes are definitely better. Let me think about this. No, I think we can leave it like this. It just makes more sense. These are very close to me, in my opinion, because like I don't even care that much about the true ending here. I guess just because like the nature of the decision does not feel so impactful that it like causes these two like breakoffs. In my opinion, like the breakoff point here, actually what happens more, like the club decision is actually what really dictates what happens between here and here, right? That's how I feel, because I think you need this in order to access the true ending anyway, right? I played this like all out of order, by the way, because like I started much later, but it is what it is. Anyway, this is my student route rankings so far. Okay, let's get to the teacher ones. Oh god, what do I even say about the teacher ones? Okay, let's talk about Bad Six first. Okay, you guys, you know, sloth it up. You're in your room. You're just like getting lost in each other, kind of thing. And you know, some people maybe like it, some people maybe don't. But she's just basically being like mega clingy, and you can't help yourself either, kind of thing. In some sense, I do also get like like bad vibes on this one, and it's definitely under here for sure. Um, or sorry, TXA bad 6. Okay, like it's definitely the worst one so far if we're just talking about comparing to the student ones. Like it's not even comparable. Like the nature of you guys like just giving up our responsibilities, like it's just like terrible. I don't I won't like lie in that maybe other people can relate here, that like you sometimes you just get that feeling where you just like want to be with somebody, like, and you just like don't want to think about anything else. But those sort of feelings should not last indefinitely, you know. And this sort of like it's almost like a very toxic codependency that forms, and that's why it's bad, right? And I think that they do a pretty good job of like portraying like why that kind of codependency is not very good here. um Despite like the kind of like, you know, getting lost, we'll say, in like the pleasures of, you know, uh indulging each other, is still like very, still has like that tantalizing edge to it, we'll say. But overall, if you kind of like have a moment of, we'll say, clarity, um then you can understand. I think most people can and should understand that this is like not a good path to be on, you know. So in my humble respect, well, actually, because of this, maybe I should rate this higher. Maybe I should rate this higher. I mean, like, you know, at least it made you feel something, right? So I guess the real question is like, how do I want to rank this? Is it like in terms of like enjoyment or like moral goodness? Because SXP is just so bland here. This one isn't that much better, I'm gonna be honest. I'm actually okay, I'll do it. TXA Bad 6 is better than normal. I'm gonna get in trouble for that one. But we're just basing this off of like a little bit, not how do I put it? Like not, it's not about the enjoyment of the matter, but it's more about like, let's call it like the execution of the writing and or like kind of CG implication. I don't know. It's just an arbitrary ranking. This is just for fun, guys. Okay, don't take it too seriously. But my major point I'm trying to sell here is that the bad 6 ending is just like, it is obviously like bad, but like, you know, at least it kind of like makes you feel something, like feel in some way. This is just like, I don't know, like, you know, the vibes of like, let's focus on the festival. Like, who cares about the festival in this game? Who cares about the festival? Nobody cares. It's all about the girls, you know. So because of that, I just think that I have to rate it a little bit higher, you know. Okay. Now, maybe I don't know how controversial this is, but I really don't like this normal 4 ending. I really don't. This might just be like my least favorite of at least this first half. I just, oh my god, like, you know, if you're gonna like indulge in each other, because like this is the part where you kind of like are like, okay, Arcana, I need to like be a functioning adult in society. I cannot indulge you all the time. But like, it once you're down this road already, it's like already fucked. And not only that, you make her feel fucking terrible here. I felt bad reading this line. I felt bad reading this fucking line. And then, you're just like, we can't. And he's like, and then she still convinces you to just like stay another hour. And it's just, I don't know. But you're just like, it's a very half measure when you've already kind of sunk in. You're not even treading water here. And but the worst part, I think, is when you get to the classroom part and she just like injects herself into being part of the executive committee, even though you guys have like, where the where the hell have you been? Where the hell has Arcana been? And we're just saying like she can be part of the executive committee all of a sudden. Like what the heck? I just like, and not only that, but she like is being disruptive in class, and like it's not quite, we'll say like PD, like intense PDA, but it's a level of PDA that just like gives me a sense of cringe, because at least Bad Six, you guys are outside of the public eye. You know what I mean? But but this one, it's just like Arcana's just like, you know, just fucking around in class, and you're just like, I don't care because she's my girlfriend. And I'm just like, and like the fact that like, then some people look annoyed, and you're like, you kind of register it, but like, you don't care, right? And you just kind of indulge her still, but in public. And she's like part of the executive committee. But the only reason why like they did that, I think, is just so that like the storylines will merge back in the second half. Um, so in that sense, like I kind of feel like it's a little bit forced to some degree. Like they should have, if probably if they were doing like a real, I shouldn't say real, but like a more like divergent visual novel, then this normal four should not lead to like the executive committee stuff, in my opinion. It just like doesn't quite make sense, in my opinion. Um, but at the same time, like I kind of understand, because it's like you are still somewhat tethering yourself to society as like a functioning member, and she is also in some respect doing that for herself as well, where she's like, okay, I can be, part of this festival. I am supposed to be here on a mission, and it's like my job, so like I can understand it. But I don't know, just this one just gives me the ick a little bit, and I can't help myself. I don't like it. I don't like it. Um, oh god, I I leave this here. No, that's fine. Okay, so then we'll cover through here. So basically here, it's like you guys are doing fine, right? And you aren't overindulgent, and you kind of like know your place as like this like teacher-student relationship. Although in my opinion, still not really. It's still a little bit sus. Just spend like way too much time with her. But I think because like the general sense that I get from this ending is like, okay, I will prioritize the festival and the mission over you, but I still like you. That's like the general vibe that I feel from this one. And it's like, and in those like off moments when we're not busy or when things are too stressful, then we can kind of like fall back on each other, right? It's a very almost professional relationship. And so like I think in the context of like you two are not real student and teacher, I think it works somewhat well. But this is where I think maybe I kind of have a problem with it, because in the student roots, I feel like you really need to like suspend that that disbelief, or like really embrace the fact that like you're not in the role play for it to not be like cringe in some ways. So here it's kind of flipped a little bit, where like you need to know that like it's not like where like it is role play, and then I feel like the professional atmosphere of like the mission, quote unquote, takes over, and then I think it makes more sense to me, at least. I'm overthinking. Like, you know, obviously I'm just like rambling, right? I also think that this CG is wonderful. But it's it's still not my favorite. I just don't. But I do like their dynamic here. Probably like the most of um probably all of these roots in general. So for that reason, I think I will probably put this here. Um ah is it better than the student one? I don't know. Maybe not. These are a little bit close, I think, but I'll put the student one up top. No, no, I'll put the teacher one up top, because I think just like I would rather have them sort of accept the idea that like they are here to fulfill a mission, and I think that the teacher roots, generally speaking, work better in that regard, because the students roots, he's the commander is just like he's very how you do fellow kids, you know. With the difference being that like he's not like that unbelievable about it, you know. Ah, yeah, yeah. It's probably the best. It's the best one so far, I think. Holy shit, she rambles here. I'm just kidding. Just to let you guys know, I did not play all these with fast up or whatever. Um, the only I think detraction I really have from this true root with Arcana is just they are still very like heavily going in on the romance side, while at the same time it feels a little like they're stretching both ways, where like she wants to have like the, you know, the student life, and she wants to like have the relationship with you as well. And so it's a difficult balance, I think, to strike in the writing, but I think they do it reasonably well, at least well enough compared to all the other roots. I genuinely don't care about these two normals like really at all. God, should I? I'm gonna do it. I think I think this is better than these. Is that crazy? The thing is, like, I just get riled up by this one. You know, it's like it's almost like the so bad it's good kind of thing. It's the train wreck that you can't take your eyes off of. That kind of vibe, right? These I could just be, you know, scrolling on my phone. This one, it's got me kind of glued to the screen a little bit, even though we kind of like recognize the moral depravity of the situation, you know. So I think I can justify this. I can justify this going up. Okay, now for the good roots. Teacher X Privity are the fucking good roots. And I mean, I can just put these here already, because you know what I'm gonna do. Um, I think because in this one, I really like the idea of like, especially as it flows later on, where like the commander is like almost like yearning to be in that relationship, but later on it's kind of like explicitly given words where it's like they cannot be honest with each other without drinking. but then they like develop this kind of like drinking relationship that isn't, we'll say like it is a little bit like there is a little bit of that romantic tension there, but like um underneath the surface, like under the guise of them just being, quote unquote drinking buddies, but you who knows what will happen if, a man and a woman get together and they're drinking. They're lean really heavily into that, right? So oh, and Amy's here, but we don't care about her. we don't care about her. I think part of the reason why I like these the best is because like they don't need to masquerade so much like awkward dynamics with like students, and you can just be like, okay, they're two teachers and like they have to deal with students and it's like rough, and they can like bond over that, and then they bond over drinking as well. And I just feel like it's a very like natural course for this kind of relationship to like develop, even if it doesn't turn into like a romantic one. But it's something that like I think people can desire, right? Out of even just like a platonic friendship, just somebody at work that you can go out and have drinks with, and complain about your boss, complain about your clients, in this case the students, and let loose a little bit. And I feel like, for the adult me, that is very resonant compared to all the other routes. So for that reason, I rate both of these very highly. And they prepare for the festival and they're drinking. And then this one, God, the CG here is so good. It's basically the same thing, except the romantic coding of it gets amped up to a 10, right? And I do think it's interesting where like basically both of these kind of mirror the student exprivity routes, but instead like you're the one handling it instead of like privity, and then you guys like go and reconcile together kind of thing. But the difference is that like I feel like the distinguishing nature of the teacher route, it just feels different as like your decision in the teacher route, because I feel like you make a meaningful change and you kind of like step up, and it's like a situation where you are a teacher and you were like supposed to kind of step up, knowing that maybe privity wasn't equipped to handle this kind of stuff. And so because of that, I mean, the fact that this leads more to the like true ending, I forget exactly what happens there. Like, yeah, you're the one to take it, and then eventually, let's see, yeah, we go on the talk about the festival, and then you kind of just like let your romantic, I guess, inner thoughts take over. So I mean, in that respect, like, yeah, the differentiation between the two routes is still a little bit but I don't know, I just can't complain about the CG here. And the fact that like it kind of like leads into this situation where we both know something could happen, and like then it actually like does happen, and and then she just they happen to have like a little situation that forces her, we shouldn't say forces her to take a shower, but man, what an image. Hair down privity in a fucking t-shirt with no underwear on. That's crazy. This is a bang, like a 10 out of 10 CG here. It's great. And I mean, if it wasn't that clear, like I mean, I didn't really talk about it, but the gotcha skin for the teacher privity. I mean, first of all, you cannot wear that as a teacher. You cannot wear that as a real teacher. I'm sorry. But does it slay? Of course. Of course it fucking slays. Holy shit, it slays. I wish I could justify spending the money for it, but alas, I cannot. Okay, this is, I think, about the correct, my evaluations. Reduce the size here. Oops. Nah, okay, I think we have to do this manually. Okay, now we'll talk about the second half. I can reduce, I guess, the size of this. Okay. Oops, what the heck? Okay, so then in the second half, like, it's mostly like the festival part, right? On the student side, you know, you're kind of committed to making it a nice experience, kind of being very integral into the maid cafe and being specifically in on the maid cafe part of the festival. And then the teacher side, I think you're more kind of like on the executive duty and like the, you know, managing, making sure that it goes smoothly kind of thing overall. Is the second half better than the first half? I think they're both pretty good, honestly. I don't know if I have a specific rating one or the other way. But yeah, we'll talk about basically these. And I'm not gonna rank the epilogue because it's like just a dream. So like I don't care. Okay, we'll start with the student roots again, because I think I've already shown my kind of favoritism for the teacher roots. A normal 6. How do I feel about normal 6? What happens here again? I think you just you're watching with her, but you're like not even really watching, but you're in the club room. And then I think you kind of like recognize that the festival is over and you're gonna have to return back to your normal lives. Oops. I skipped too fast, sorry. Yeah, okay. That's what I thought. And then she kind of like has some school regrets, and you are like, oh, I promise we're gonna be able to do it, but then like you won't be able to keep the promise kind of thing. Fair enough. I mean, not a great ending. It's not a great ending by any means. I don't. How am I even ranking these? Like for the writing and for the feels, the vibes. It's vibes coded. It's vibes. I'm not really vibing with that one. Is all I will say. I do quite like this one though. I think the whole idea of like the photography club really comes together as like a linchpin of this one. And like you know, you enjoy the fireworks and you kind of like again a sense of accomplishment that like you did well with the whatever, and then you try and go get some privacy, but then you know everybody you're trying to find some private time, and then everybody else runs in, and then it's still like a nice group gesture. I think it does lean. We kind of go back to the idea where like it's not just you two, right? The true endings for Arcana kind of always are a little bit more focused on like uh, the valuable the prioritize the value of like the school experience as felt by like many different people all coming together, right? And then being able to like take those pictures and like having this little after party, and then this last shot, the candid shot that I think Amy took, and then she professes her love or whatever, and then Amy ends, and then she assembles all these photos, and I think that these are super cute, although I don't know why they're on different routes. Like, how does that happen? I don't know. Because doesn't the maid one doesn't happen unless you're a teacher, I believe. The swing set one I think is a student one. This is also a teacher one, I believe, as well, on the bridge, because you go and talk to the person after. Is the wedding one on the student? It should be, I think. But I think her reflecting in the afterward, just and kind of like gathering all the photos, and then having the last one that you see being just like in the moment sort of picture. The candid nature of it, I think, is really nice. And yeah, I quite like this ending. I think it's very good. It's very much like you really give Arcana what she wanted kind of thing. So the the student side Arcanas are better, and then I think the teacher side privities are better. Maybe it's like almost intentionally that way, right? Because like Arcana comes in as the student, privity comes in as the teacher, but I mean, yeah. What happens here? What Oh, you basically are like, why can't we kind of like be together, I guess? And you're like, Brody's like, I'm prioritizing, I guess, the mission. Enjoying it. Brody is there, or if she really feels empty. Not complete. And get across. So this is like very like, I prioritize the mission, which I guess is still in line with like, let's make the festival good. But it didn't amount to kind of any sort of these like interpersonal developments, I guess. It's okay. She was always gonna have the and you don't talk to each other. It's very, professional. We'll say. Is this better or worse than the Arcana one? I mean, the Arcana one, it's sort of like more about like broken promises, I guess, or like unfulfilled school life. Well, they're both like a little bit about unfulfilled school life, but Privity doesn't ever really give the sense that like, she, or not as much, I should say, not as much expressing her like regrets of, doing stuff outside of the work, I guess. It's pretty close. It's pretty close. I guess I'll put the Arcana one higher, because I don't know, this one feels like honestly even kind of bad. because it's just so like cold to some degree. Whereas like, you know, in the Arcana one, like at least you kind of bonded with Arcana, even if it came kind of at the expense of other school activities. So I think yeah, I think I'm down with that. So then I think you meet on the roof for the true ending for the Privity one, and then you kiss on the fireworks. And like, we made good memories, yeah. I love you. Oh shit. Damn, that's a wait, she did like a full-on confession. Oh my god, I didn't remember that. Damn. The problem is I still don't really like this route because you're a student. I don't know. I mean, it's alright. It's not better than S6A True, though. But, I mean, you know, definitely very forward here. I think the most forward Privity has ever been. And I do like, I mean, this is a nice shot. That's it. Okay. I guess I don't have as much to talk about in the second half as the first half, because I think the first half kind of already sets the pace of like what you expect if you continue on the trajectory of the specific ending. Okay, teacher side. So I think this normal one is if you... It's the codependency one. I do like the TXA one, I think. TXA is pretty decent. And then I think this is another one where it's just like, you know, what's gonna happen to us after, right? And then you kind of do sort of this indulgent thing, but it doesn't count as a bad ending. But you kind of like walk away with, you know, at least this sort of, I guess, like in mission wise, you didn't do a very good job, right? Everything kind of got a little bit messed up because you and Arcana never took the committee duty or the festival duties that seriously, and you kind of just kept leaning into each other. I don't know. I mean, this basically has the same vibes as, I guess, Bad 6 and Normal, which is to be expected. Is it better than these? I mean, what is the implication right here? Like, the idea is that you go back, but like it's changed, like your sort of dynamic has changed where like you kind of like need to be with each other. I guess like in my opinion, I still think that this is, at least vibes wise, it still makes me feel more than the normals on these, so I will give it a higher rating than these two. But I don't exactly feel good about it either, right? It's really not like what I kind of like want to happen, but it's honestly, I'll take this over like nothing with Privity, and then this one, I don't really like this one either because it's like a, you know, it just very curtly like ends and like the promises weren't upheld kind of thing. But this one is like still very like toxic codependency. I understand that, but I don't know. I still prefer it. Okay. So then this one, right, you because you guys were on point in doing the committee stuff, you get the permission, you go to the guy's house, and since you like had the moment with the kid, they say like, okay, you know, like we're okay with the fireworks now, but you kind of miss the fireworks, so you end up watching it on the bridge, and then you know she reflects on the mission, or not the mission, I should say, reflects on the
そうやって一線を越えないところに惚れ直してたんですよ。
not the mission, but like the experience of the whole as again, and sort of reflects about how the relationship that you guys had and how like it was very nice, but like never crossing the line. I think that that's like the major the major point that they try to make in these teacher x student relationships. Whereas I think because on the student privity side, like privity is never gonna cross the line um, for you as the student, except for in the true endings, I guess. um, but I mean, the CGs for this one I think are so good. Like this shot of her looking off the bridge, I think is wonderful. And then the one where the fireworks start and he's in the background, but the focus is still on her, kind of, and then it's reflected in the writing too, where it's like you don't really see the fireworks. They're a nice backdrop, but like she's the focal point, right? And I don't know. These two CGs are also just really great. Are these better than? Is this better than SXA True? Probably not. I really like the SXA True one. I don't know. These are both really good, actually. These are really both quite good, actually. I'll keep the student one over. I just like this one honestly is like a little cliche, at least in terms of like the sort of writing where it's like, you know, you have the fireworks of like a romantic backdrop, but you know, your eyes are glued to the person that you love, kind of thing. Well, I mean, this one is actually more, I think, romantic coded than this one. Even this one is just more about like the wholesome, full station, you know, youth idea. They're close. I'm okay with keeping this, but honestly, I could switch either one. They're both pretty good. Okay. And then this one, I think normal 7 is the idea where like it almost gets to that point, you know, where like because you guys are drinking after celebrating that everything's done, but then you kind of take an initiative and then Privity fucking falls asleep. And so, you know, I think where was it? This is the like here, right? Cowards who can't be honest with each other. I feel like that was never really a problem for the commander in some sense, so it's like not in that sense. I don't feel like it lines up too well with how the commander should be, but I mean the whole, I think, point of like the endings being different is that like you behave in a different way. And you know, it gets like a little spicy towards the end here, right? But then she falls asleep, so then you get blue balled. And then you're just like, it's okay. And you know, it's not very fulfilling, but I think it's like it's chill. It's chill. It's I think I'll take this. I'll take this over SXP because I still am kind of pretty whatever about that relationship overall. Um, but you know what it is. TXP baby. TXP is the goat. Another banger CG. Um, and I think it's like cool that like or it's a nice touch that they sort of put that line where like Privy like, ah, I want to like do this while I'm not
えっと、
where I'm not drinking.
部屋で酔って、
Where usually drunk when stuff happens, but like I
そ、
don't want it to
で
happen
も酔
while it's
ったい、
drunk. So I think this line is very sells this ending quite well in my opinion.
あなたといろんなこうして、
And then I
です
think
が、も
like
う酔った勢いで何かが起きるような
yeah, I
関係
think
は
there's
嫌
also
なんです。
some nice vibes that come here as well that I really like. Where it's like it's not just about the romantic thing, but it's also about like personal development, you know? And then this you can argue that, her talking about this while not drunk is also personal development as well. And then it's like he does. And then
あの、少しこちらに来て、
damn.
手伝ってもらえません？
Damn. I mean, in terms of just like the raw CG, it's not the best. This one is still my favorite. By far it's my favorite. But in terms of like the second half, I mean, the TX aerial CGs are definitely the best, I think. The shots of Arcana are just really good, I think. Or I shouldn't say shots. Like the way their Arcana was drawn is really good here. Okay, I think that pretty much does it. These are my ending rankings. So we do see, a lot of TXP representation here. Normal dropped a little bit here just because I feel like I understand that like the normal endings are supposed to kind of like leave you wanting more almost kind of but I kind of would have I would have liked a little bit if they went somewhere at least a little bit with the normal ones, right? Even in like a lot of the bad endings where like you get drunk and then like you had like a little I won't call it like a one night stand, but like you had a little night activity with the person, right? Also, I like this art a lot too. Ah man, there's a lot of good ones. Okay, I think yeah, that's pretty much at least the discussion part of this done. And then I guess I'll check the album and point out some of the good CGs real quick, and then I'll do some closing thoughts. I will say sometimes I browse the subreddit and I think it's so funny when people like ask for help about like how to get CGs. And it was like a thought in my mind. Like I don't want to like hate on people because they just don't want to waste their time and they just want like some immediate help. I understand that, but like never did I think that you could be bad at visual novels. You know what I mean? I just feel like all you have to do is just like go through the roots in a logical order. The album, like all the arts are handled in like kind of chronological, not really chronological, but like root based order, right? It's easy. Like I think I was missing this one, and I had these three, and this was like the last CG I was missing, and I was like, oh, it's like early on. So then I just did some stuff here, and then I found it, And it's like if you can't waste, 2 minutes to go click something and either fast or skip to the part where you actually need to click on a different button, it's like what what are we doing, Uh, okay. So then album wise, this one's it's just goofy. It's just goofy. I like these arts are really nice. Of Arcana dozing off in the library. This one is spicy. This one is really spicy, and I really like this one. I think it's really good. This is I think they found you in the peeping in the shower. Is that right? These are good. I like these ones. This is pretty good. This is when you're a little too popular. It's kind of funny. The wedding dress ones are interesting. I'll be honest, like I didn't totally vibe with them. Not in the sense that that it's like, oh, you didn't get to see the bunny suit or whatever. More in the sense of like, aren't you a little young to make this on? That's I don't know, whatever. Then you get the art of her, and then I said this one's pretty good as well. I think in terms of at least spiciness, I think definitely Arcana's. Well, I can't even say that, but in maybe the volume of like the spicy CGs that Arcana got is much higher. Even this one is like pretty because you're like, you're sleeping on her lap, and she like just didn't leave, or made her legs fall asleep for like half a day or whatever. This will be infamous, an infamous CG now, basically at this point. This one's cute too, honestly. Her being like super drunk, even though this is a bad end. Obviously this one, I don't know why. Well, we know why Kelly looks similar to Arcana, but it's kind of to make you have certain feelings in a certain way. These two might some of my favorite non-spicy CGs for sure. I think these two are pretty amazing. Okay, and then we go to the privity ones. I already thought that this was like, this was kind of funny, but then the fact that she like wraps her arms around you during that scene is crazy. Oh no, this is the busted scene. Oh, okay, this is when you leave the this one is when you leave the Amy's closet to trigger the bad end. I remember now. This one is the shower one that you see you get messed up with. That's funny. Yeah, I don't like this. I don't like this. This one's funny. If nothing else, then this is like what 50% of Nikke players. I could obviously, but this is when you had the butler thing going on. Oh, this was in the haunted house. I remember. This is another bad end that I honestly, I don't really like. They were late one day and they got kicked out. Like, what the fuck? I've been late to work for one day. It's unprofessional, sure, but like, it's like one day, This is the when you're getting cold in the locker, I think. In terms of spicy CG, I think this is probably my favorite, probably, with a close, very close second being the Arcana Under the Sheets one. Ah, man. And then I really like these two, especially this one, where she's like looking at you with the beer in the other hand. Am I spelling? This one's cute too. This one's really good. This one is horrible, man. This is like when the bad ending that Arcana gets just like utterly, like, basically mind broken. Like, oh man, it's just this one I think might be my least, like, in terms of I in terms of, like, I guess the writing itself. It is very, it evokes strong emotions, right? And in that sense, I think it's like pretty good. But in terms of like the actual, if we're talking about like actually feelings, I just I hate it. I hate it. I hate it. I like this one. This one's good as well. But the Arcana ones are better after the festival, I think. And then this one is, it's good, but I just, you can't compete. You can't compete with this. You can't compete with this. I like this one so fucking much. uh this is male fantasy. Yeah. This is male fantasy right here. Oh my god. And then, I mean, this is just a dream or whatever. I don't even know like what to feel about the epilogue. Okay, so then I guess this is, what time is it? It's like about an hour in. Okay, so like closing thoughts. I did quite like the event. I think some of the writing was very good. Some of it was, maybe a little bit cliche, but like for what Nikke could possibly do in like a school environment visual novel, I think it's like about as good as they could have done. If you aren't interested in like Arcana and Privity as like individuals, I think obviously this event will be much less enjoyable for you. And I mean, honestly speaking, like, I mean, I liked the Arcana's event somewhat, but it was more because of the implications of the Forbidden Library than Arcana herself and her like mind wiping and stuff. Did she have two events now I think about it? Was the Forbidden Library separate from the memory wiping? No, I think they were the same event, right? But yeah, I view her more favorably, like less as a student, even if she is, we'll say, more meta as a burst to fire shotgun supporter. But um, I yeah, I think, yeah, I do like Arcana as a character though. So her showing up here was like pretty cool. Privity is, she's just gonna be everywhere at this point. She'll be a maid, sure. She's doing the government job, which we kind of don't even care about. And now she's a teacher, temporary teacher here. Um, but I think like Privity gets fleshed out, I think, a lot more in this. I to be fair, I have not played her Bond story, but I do think that she gets a lot of nice character development in this one. But the problem, I guess, is that like, is any of the character development real? Are any of these timelines real? That is the question I have to grapple with at the end of the day, because if we want to place this in a canon timeline for this long live service game that is Nikke, which, you know, basically prides itself on doing pretty good gotcha story writing. Um, that, in my opinion, you know, I've quite enjoyed the writing, even absent of the gotcha classification, right? I mean, most of the games. I mean, I'm not keeping up with that many gotcha games these days, but basically, I'm playing like this game, and I'm playing like Wuthering Waves, which I also think, at least, especially in 3.0, and then in a couple of the 2.5, and 2.4, 2.4, 2.5, especially sold me on like their presentation. And you know, have a larger budget, their style is different, but Nikke can kind of focus purely on writing and world building, and like the kind of putting that together as more of their appeal. So, you know, if you're like not into reading, um, like Nikke might not be for you, but like I really do like Nikke's story writing quite a lot. It's very emotional, very depressing at times, but it just it hits when it hits, it hits, and I'm very looking forward to the third anniversary or 3.5 anniversary. Um, I'm questioning whether or not they will ever like do this kind of event, where they do like a VN. I think in generally speaking, there definitely were some haters out there, but I would say for the most part, it seemed like this event was quite well received. From the limited social media that I see for these games, so I think that based on their reception, it is something that they'll keep in the back of their books. But I think ultimately they cannot sustain this for like their major story beats. Like the major story that they write always has to have like one canonical timeline. And so the problem is kind of trying to force this kind of story into their canonical timeline. Now, it's not that important in the like the large scale, right? Like we don't care that much in the main story whether, you know, you ship the commander with Privity or you ship the commander with Arcana. Ultimately, they're both gonna kind of like you. But are any of these experiences that you had real, you know? That's what I'm kind of wrestling with. That, and it is unfortunate that like you have to think of it that way. You can, I guess, treat everything as canon, which doesn't make sense. But that's the problem I have with this epilogue, because it kind of portrays the idea, even if it's like in a dream, that um, you did both routes at the same time, which doesn't make any sense. So then, like, at the end of it, you know, where are we in terms of the actual like main important story things that like happened? You went to the school, you tried to give the school better reputation, mostly in the form of either participating or managing a festival with Privity, and Arcana was there too, I guess, and Amy was there too, I guess. Um, and then we can probably at least say that the festival was a success, and so then maybe they later down the line they can like write another festival thing if they really want. Although I probably don't think that they'll do that next year. They probably need to give it a while. So then, but like, you know, did you get with Arcana? Did you get with Privity? Did you get with neither of them? Who knows? And I mean, one can just say that that doesn't matter, and I would kind of agree. But, um, you know, why are we here? Just to suffer? just treat one of the bad endings as canon. You know what I mean? Bad 6. Let's do it. Oh, this is bad 10. Bad 6. Let's do it. Make it canon. Make it canon. And then the commander's like, yeah, you know what? I don't really care about the surface. I don't care about Johan. I don't care about Red Hood. I don't care about Rappy. I don't want to reclaim the surface. I just want to spend the rest of my days with Arcana. Fuck all the haters. But yeah. Okay. I think we'll leave it at that then. I don't even know if I'll edit this. I think I'll just put it up as like a pseudo VOD. And you can kind of treat it a little bit like a podcast, unless you really want to indulge in the CG discussion. Then feel free to watch it. But otherwise, thanks for listening and or watching. And I hope you enjoyed the event. If you didn't enjoy the event, I mean, I definitely aired some of my grievances out. And I can see why some people wouldn't enjoy the event, but I liked it. And I am interested to see them pursue, you know, maybe not necessarily the exact same like 2x2 structure, but they could do something maybe even like a little bit more complicated than this route, and I would be down for it. I just don't think that they can do this with any like quote unquote like real important story beats that like matter for the story and the world as a whole. This one is like so self-contained that I think it's like essentially fine that they do something like this. But yeah, I mean, I liked it, and I want to see them try more of it if possible. Okay, that'll be it. Thanks for watching, and I will maybe do something similar for the 3.5 Annie. I don't think I'll do it for anything like, only if something significant happens. Maybe a live reaction. I should have live stream access to YouTube because I requested it today, and it takes 24 hours to enable. So, okay. Other than that, thanks for listening, and I'll see ya.